Hello, good afternoon. Please, can everyone hear me? We're about to start. Welcome, Miss Esther. Can you all hear me, please? Okay.
Yeah, I
Good
can hear
evening.
you. Good evening.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Esther. Okay. So while we wait for people to join us, I want to really welcome you to Beyond the Four Walls conference, and we hope to have. Okay, so just a minute. We are waiting for the others to join us. We had a little bit of a technical issue, a network issue. So maybe in the next 8 minutes or in the next 5 minutes, we should be starting. Good evening, Sola. So, Miss Esther, how was your day?
Was very long.
Why was it? You seem a bit tired. Hope the day wasn't so stressful.
It was actually.
Like, how is preparations for the Creatives Hangout going?
Oh, it's fine. I'm making its way.
That's beautiful. I'm really sorry for the. I don't know. I think maybe it's just because we're in Nigeria or something. Like the network issue really disrupted things that we should have started a lot earlier than now. So let's see. Okay, so I think we should just get started and every other person will join the replay. That's for those that don't start with us. I don't know what you think. Is that okay by you, Miss Esther?
Yeah, it's very okay because I actually have another meeting by 17:80, so I don't even know how to patch up things right now.
Okay, so welcome without much ado because of how much time has gone. Like welcome Miss Esther, the organizer of one of the biggest conferences that happened in the south of Nigeria, and the author of I think you've authored like a book that literally goes or centers around what you're actually going to be talking about during this section or like the theme of this event because so many people graduate from Nigerian universities without a marketable skill. They get into NYC, especially in Nigeria here, and they are literally trying to figure out their life with their NYC allowance or something. And you literally wrote a book about something like that.
Yeah.
So I would really be honored to, and every other person that will be listening to this section, both the replay and now, would really be honored to hear from you, your experiences, and every other thing that would help us become industry leaders or industry leading experts in our fields as time goes on. So the floor is yours, ma.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you for bringing me into your platform to come and talk to your people how to be relevant beyond 4 walls of schooling. Yes. So the target audience around this are probably university students. Yeah, 100 level. A minute, please. Yeah, maybe new intakes, those that just passed out, especially from University of Benin. Then maybe one or two persons writing exams to enter a institution or those preparing for NYC, right? Any of all of these target audience, I'm going to be addressing us this evening, okay? So please just pay attention at and take your own 2 cents basically. So this topic is very, very vital for us if you want to remain relevant in this 21st century. So I'll just start from my own experience. While I was in University of Benin, I did not really maximize my NYC, sorry, my university days, right? Because I was not really open to such knowledge. I was just there, and as a matter of fact, I lived a triangular life in school. I graduated 2019 from Faculty of Education. So my life in school was triangular, from school hostel to lecture theatre to campus fellowship, back to school hostel. So that's how I was just living my life in this time. Because the ideology, the mindset we had was that you are going to school, go there and study. Any other thing, don't pay attention, right? So we didn't really know what was personal development, what was capacity building, the need for making impact, the need for building influence, and even paying attention to your finances. Then all of those things were not really the way it is right now. Okay, so but right now you would see that even 100 level students, 200 level students, they are doing crazy stuff. They are doing amazing things in the social impact industry, influence wise, and even income. You understand? What I'm trying to say in essence is that even as a university student, don't box yourself around the four walls of schooling. There is so much more deposited in you that you should explore. There's so much more deposited in you that you should cultivate, that you should nurture, that you should develop. Do you understand? It's good to study, go to school. It's very good, trust me. Go to school, study your books, graduate with a good grade and all of that. But beyond all of those things, there is so much more. And those are some of the things we are going to be looking at this evening that would help you. Either you're in school currently or you have graduated and you're now in the real world. Now, I'm not saying school is a fake word, but you understand what I mean. Do you get? So, when it comes to be relevant beyond the four walls of education, you must be hungry for knowledge, right? Not just see life in the real world like this. Mathematics will not solve some problems in this real world, right? See, biology will not solve some problems in this real world. In as much those things are good, but they are higher callings. Do you understand? So one of the things you must pay attention is be hungry for capacity building. And I would use this example that you know at a point in my life, I told myself that Esther, if you are not building your capacity, the capacity God has given to you, if you are not developing it, if you are not enlarging your course, you're a wicked person. Because I basically, you see, a lot of persons they follow me. In fact, as at today, I was in a meeting in Benin City. We had about 40 persons in that, 40 to 50 persons in that meeting. And when most of them were asked that, how did you hear about this seminar? A lot of them were mentioning my name. So we saw it from Esther's community. We did this. I was like, wow, this is like I felt fulfilled at a point. And the organizer was like, ah, ah. So he was really surprised. What I'm trying to say in essence is that be hungry for knowledge, attend meetings. That's one of the ways to really build when I mean not just any kind of meetings, okay, transformational meetings, especially on Saturdays and any other that fall within the week. Do you understand? So if you must be relevant beyond the four walls of schooling, if you must be the type of person that has edge over your fellow, but please, we are doing all of these things not for competition. So when I mean you have edge, I'm talking about be open to more opportunities. Do you understand? So if you really want to be that university student or that graduate that can position and access opportunities, one of the ways in doing that is coming to a point where you build capacities. And this thing you will not find them in the streets, right? You will not find them in your room. You have to go out there to meetings where like minds are gathered, to meetings where creatives are gathered, to meetings where experts are speaking. Do you understand? So for me, currently now, yeah, by grace of God, I'm relevant, obviously. I'm very, very relevant. One of the ways I would say I achieved that or still achieving it, because we are not yet where we want to be, okay? So one of the ways I would say I achieve that is by constantly attending meetings, leaving your comfort zone, attending meetings, transformational meetings. And trust me, in such meetings, you would find people. Obviously, I'm not attending meetings with animals. Do you understand? So you would find people would also help you in positioning for local and global opportunities. You will not see these people in your room. So it's high time we left our rooms and go for such meetings. While I was in University of Benin then, when I see such meetings, I will tell myself that instead of all these ones to go and be reading their books, they are here attending Aspire to Inspire to become Maguire, all these kind of things, right? So those are the things I thought those meetings were. Never knew I was the one deceiving myself. I was the one limiting the things I could do. But nevertheless, there is nothing like you are late. So in as much you get the information, this knowledge and begin to run with it, you discover that even those that started long ago, you just push them or run past them in the race. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So one of the ways to actually stay relevant beyond the four walls of anything, ranging from schooling down to anything you're trying to box yourself into right now, is by living wherever you are, living your comfort zone, living your city, or if it's happening in your city, go out and attend such meetings. See, there's something about atmosphere. When you're in such atmosphere, your creative mind is opened up, right? Everything about you opens up. Be hungry for knowledge. That's one of the things that would give you an edge. Another thing that I preach a lot of persons they know me because it's something that has really helped me. Another thing I preach a lot is that you don't just go for these meetings just to learn. You don't just go for these meetings just to learn. Because the truth is this, there are some form of relevance that nobody will just give to you, no matter the level of capacity you have, except it's by network, except it's by connection, except it's by, oh, I know Dan knows me, and that are such opportunities were given to me. Here's what I'm trying to say. When you attend such meetings, in fact, recently, somebody flew in from Abuja to Benin for my conference that I had in Benin City May this year. She traveled down, and in that meeting, I don't know how she did what she did, but she eventually connected with one of my keynote speakers, like one of my major keynote speakers. She connected with him, connected with the mentee, connected with the PA, and I don't know how she did all of those things. And currently, they built connections from that my conference. And currently, right now as I speak to you, they are doing amazing stuff together. Like crazy stuff together. She's somebody I respect. So in fact, that was the first time I got to meet her and all of those things. I never even knew she had been following me online. She's a very big woman. So a few days ago, I saw some of the stuff she posted, how she and these people they've been building stuff, they've been doing. I'm like, this is crazy. I never even knew they connected from my conference. She was one and I wrote it that May 27th is a day I can never forget in my life. It's like the day Nigeria celebrates our independence, October 1st, because that was the day I got freedom to opportunities, I got freedom to access all of those. And I was like, man, I don't get what happened. So I was like, in that your meeting, outside the teachings, outside the learning, all of those things, I connected with your keynote speaker, Mr. Uchiko Mogo, connected with his mentee, Mr. Hector Ikechukwu. I was like, wow, this is crazy. Do you understand? By virtue of that, I've actually bought a land in her heart. She has, yeah, I bought a land in her heart, kind of. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So if you must be relevant in this century beyond the four walls of schooling, you must know somebody. You understand? In as much your father, my father is not the president of Nigeria, they are not the governor of your state, they are not all of these influential people. So it's at time you don't start saying oh it's their fault. My parents are not influential, they don't know people, they don't have connection, leave all of those things. How about you? You want to come to a situation where your children begin to say such things. So let me tell us something. At a point in my life, I knew I came from a family that there's no connection, obviously. So instead of me to be complaining, my father did not know anybody, blah, 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 I took it upon myself and I said, few years from now, what do I want my children to say about my network? What do I want my children to actually enjoy? Do you understand? I'm like, okay, Esther, you know what, right now, you need to start meeting people, knowing people, connections, networks. How are you going to do? One of the ways to do all of these things by attending meetings. I'm a practical example of that. You see me today, I'm like, Esther, how did you know this person? Such persons can just recommend me, mention my name. Like, Esther, one of the ways is by attending meetings. So please and please, these were those set of persons that think transformational meetings like that are not necessary. I think conferences, seminars are not important. In as much you are not hooked up with some other important things or some other important, the definition of importance is relative, right? In as much you are not hooked up with things that would not benefit your life, please and please go all out. There is gain in it. You cannot just become all relevant by yourself no matter how you try. You need people to survive in this world we are right now, right? We need people to survive. So go all out. One other thing I would also say, if you want to be relevant beyond the four walls of schooling, if you are a student, or the four walls of service, if you are a Nigeria Youth Service Corps member, or beyond the four walls of anything, but let me just classify it as schooling in general, right? So one other thing you must begin to pay attention to is that you need to volunteer. I know you've heard this over and over again, and I'm here restating it. You need to volunteer. Now, before you do all of these things, have objectives. Because the thing is, you're not going to be paid in most cases. In fact, 99% of the cases, you're not going to be paid. And at such point, you are giving your time, your effort, in most cases, your cash, to ensuring such thing, you are pushing such thing forward, right? So after doing all of these things, it's not making sense, right? When you're not getting anything in return, even if it's not monetary. So please know the objectives of why you are doing whatever you are doing, but it's something that is very, very key. Few days ago, I volunteer with an organization currently in Benin. Yes, I'm not being paid. I'm sorry, I even spend my own transport to go to work. I think I go twice a week recently. I send the OTF to go. I'm not being paid. You understand? But I know what I'm looking for, right? And just by building relationship with the founder of this organization, by volunteering with one, helping with one project or the other, you understand? It has saved me a lot. It has helped me. Do you understand? I think a few days ago, he saw something on my WhatsApp status about my creative hangers, and the next thing he asked me was, Esther, what would you love me to do for your hangers? Sorry. And I told him I need this. And I was like, no problem, consider it done. I'll make few calls, and these things should be secured for you. Just like that. And trust me, those things would have cost me nothing less than 120,000 naira. Like nothing less than 120 naira. Because the hangar is for a full day and not just 3 hours meeting. Because when they pay for stuff in Benin most times, if you are taking a full day, half day, or something, that cost nothing less than 120k, and it was sorted out just like that. So what I'm trying to say in essence is that the place of volunteering cannot be overemphasized if you want to stay relevant in this century. So you don't just go to people with empty, and you can't build connections that way. So you're not just going to people to be a parasite. It is symbiotic relationship. You are giving them something. They're also giving you something in return. And one of the ways to doing it is looking for how to be of help to them. I cannot just be of help to them by giving them money. Some of them they have money more than you. Do you understand? So what else can you do? It's simple. Look for areas you can volunteer. And trust me, you cannot just volunteer with empty hand. So the next question is, what skill do you have currently that you can use in promoting whatsoever they are doing? So you need to go back and check yourself. What skill have I learned over time? What skill will be important to this organization that would be of help to them? And there's nothing bad doing this alongside schooling. Now, let's say it this way. Some persons, maybe after you've graduated, and you hear things like, we are looking for people with 7 years experience in this role, and you just finished school, you just graduated. Where did they expect you to get the 7 years experience from? That's the question. But you must begin to understand that they expected you. They're even in school, you are studying a 4 year course, a 5 year course. Within those times, you should be able to work, right? Not just working like a 9 to 5, a job thing and getting paid, but by volunteering, offering your services to people, organizations, individuals for free, and creating your experiences. So much so that after graduation, you are bold enough to say you have 5 years experience. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Even as a student, even while schooling, do you get the gist? So your friends are there, they've graduated, and they're like, ah, everywhere we go, they're asking for 4 years experience. So where do they expect somebody to get it? And you show up and grab such opportunities because you've created those experiences from volunteering even while in school. So what I'm trying to say in essence is that you must begin to look beyond physics and English and biology textbooks in school. Like I said, those things are good. Please study your books, write exam, pass, come out with good grades. But beyond that, there's so much more in you. God has deposited so much more in you, and it's wicked of you not to develop them. It's wicked of you not to build on them. Consider you like it or not, there are destinies that are tied to your growth. Do you get? There are destinies that are attached to your growth. So if you don't grow, it eventually means those persons would not grow. And what you are trying to tell God is you are not you are a bad person. You don't appreciate the level of position He's trying to put you in. So so basically, beyond the 4 walls of schooling, beyond what you are currently doing as a person, right? Beyond that low state you've placed yourself as a person, thinking you don't have too much, you just want to relax in your comfort zone. I'm going to tell you right now that there's so much in you beyond what you are doing currently. So let me stop saying beyond schooling, for example. So beyond the 4 walls of what you are doing currently, there's so much more in you should explore. And one of the ways to discovering this is growth, right? The person you would want to become is in the other side of growth. So you have to grow to a level. Your growth begins to attract these things. So please and please pay attention to meetings rather than being your home every Saturday gossiping. Pay attention to study your books. Do you understand? Pay attention to becoming better in whatsoever skill you are right now. In a lot of persons, opportunities come and pass them by because you don't make them prepared. So currently now you might think, oh, I should be earning 500,000 right now with the level of things I know, but it's not coming forth. Still keep preparing. Days would come where these opportunities would come, and you would grasp them because you are prepared. These opportunities would even be the one pursuing you, right? You will not be the one pursuing it anymore. Then some person be like, I'm looking for opportunity. What are you looking for? Where are you looking for it? Are you pursuing it to? You get to a point where these things begin to attract you. You begin to attract them, sorry, right? And at that point, there's this other part of being relevant. You know, when you say somebody is being relevant, what does it eventually means? It's simple. You're able to influence people's life. You're able to impact them. You're able to make them better. Somebody come across you and the person does not remain the same. That's to show you are relevant. Do you understand? So every time I tell myself, people that are really serious around me, right? The way they came, they should not remain like that in a couple of months. After 3 months, after 6 months, they should be able to say, ah, since I came across Esther, this and this, see how she has helped my life. And funny enough, it doesn't have to be money. You know what? I don't need to give you cash to show I've impacted you, to show I've been relevant in your life. So one of the greatest joy you would ever have, one of the greatest fulfillment when it comes to be relevant is in people and not just things. Do you get that? Is in people and not just things. So you're not being relevant because of the amounts you have in your bank account. You're not being relevant just because of the number of houses you've built. Yeah. You are being relevant beyond the 4 walls of whatever you are doing right now if you are able to impact and influence people's lives. So much so that somebody looks at you and tell you that, ah, Esther, if not for you, I would have not been where I am today. If not for you, I would have not been free from this mental slavery. That's to show you are relevant. Do you get? So we should begin to look beyond our comfort zone. We should begin to look beyond the 4 walls of just the schooling system. Because these are things school will not teach you. School will not teach the capacity building of school will just teach you how to move from one level to another. If I ask some of you right now, even me, what they taught you in 100 level, we cannot even remember. We shall just try to pass exams. except maybe for some professional courses, as people do call them, those that study medicine, those that study law, that after their study, they come out and use certificates to work. But there are some course of study that you know within your heart of heart that I don't finish. Let me see why is this thing work. Do you get the gist? So all of these things you must be able to maximize your schooling year. Please, if you're in 100 level right now hearing me, you are great right now, trust me. If you're in 200 level, perfect. 300 level, great. If you're in your final year, it's still not late, right? I think I discovered all of these things in my final year, 400 level first semester. That was when it dawned on me that, Esther, outside the four walls of this University of Benin, there's so much more. When I see young persons like me, they were doing amazing stuff, like crazy things. I was like, man, what have I been doing with my life? You understand? So that's what I want to share with us this evening. In summary, like I stated, beyond the four walls of schooling, there's something deposited in you, there's a capacity. So it's needed for you to develop. So when we say capacity development, it means something is here and something is here already. So it just needs to be built. It needs to enlarge. One of the ways in doing it is be hungry for knowledge, right? Attend meetings. I've stressed on the parts of why you need to connect to people, right? I've stressed on the parts on why you need to really attend transformational meetings, because the things you would hear there most times, a lot of times, they are words that would push you, they are words that would transform you, they are words that will take you from the level you are, even as a student, to a level that a graduate cannot even attain. Do you understand? So I have a meeting to catch up with. I'm far behind schedule because we did not start on time, and I'll just wrap it up here right now. So let's take some few questions if we have any questions. Actually, prepare me to talk more. Yeah. So if you have questions, you can just drop them in the comment section, and we'll take that before we leave. Do we have any, please?
Okay,
Yeah.
Miss Esther, I think I do have a question myself.
Okay.
So, listening to you talk, you spoke about a lot of things, a lot of amazing things that, like, as a young person, whether you're a student, whether you're a graduate, or whatever, you should actually imbibe into your journey as a whole. But then I feel like you said something that it was in your first semester before you were graduating, like first semester 400 level, that you got to realize that okay, that these things were actually necessary. So, like, could you tell us more about what exactly triggered them and how did you actually start? Like, when you realized that these things were necessary. Sorry, you hearing me?
Yeah, I can.
Like, when you realized that these things were necessary, like, what exactly did you start doing? Because I know every great journey begins with like a single step and all of that. So, like, what exactly did you do that started you on this journey to be?
Okay. Thanks so much for that, Dan. So my final level first semester, when I discovered that as I about graduating, and you don't maximize your years in school. So how can you meet up right now? I can remember the first conference I attended in that final year first semester. What's the name again? HYPB, harnessing your power of something. I've sure forgotten the B, but it was an acronym HYPB. That was the first conference I attended in University of Benin. That Carissa area. She's in Abuja right now. She got married this year. So that was the very first conference I attended. And in that meeting, the speakers that came spoke well. And I was also a volunteer for that meeting. Though nobody really told me volunteer. I just wanted to serve in one capacity. Do you understand? So that was how mine started. So from there, obviously people that came for that meeting, I connected with them. So one thing that helped me, that period, I collected contacts of those amazing speakers and participants. And when we got on WhatsApp, I was viewing their status, and most of them shared more of these conferences, right? They shared opportunities, they shared things that when I read on their status, when I see on their status, I'm moved to become better. Do you get the likes of Dr. Eddie and all of those people? You understand? So I'll trace my journey back to, okay, when I discovered it's at time to beat capacity. It was from that conference to becoming a volunteer in that conference, right? Can you mute, please? It was from that conference to becoming a volunteer in that same conference, so connecting with like minds in that conference, following them up, following up their updates, and attending more of those meetings. And when I attend such meetings, when they recommend books, I get the soft copies because then I was so broke. I didn't even have money to buy all these hard copy books. You understand? I get the soft copies. I try my best to study them, and from there, I learned a skill called copywriting. That was in July 2020. Right. I also graduated that in I graduated 2019. Yeah, December 2019. So in July 2020, from there, I learned a skill called copywriting. I dug my head into it to ensure I'm one of the best. Obviously, from there, I picked interest, and from there, gosh, just helped me. So I was open to knowledge, always learning from YouTube. From there, see, there's something about growth. Let me tell you, you cannot. Yes, you can track it, but then if you are really serious and open-minded, growth is not a respecter of who started first. Growth just follows the person with hunger. Do you understand? Growth just follows the person with hunger. And like that, I just growing. Fine, people like Esther, that's how we are. That's how we are where we are today. Do you understand? So I don't even understand the sequence I just followed. So that's how my own actually started though. Yeah, that's it basically. Yeah, that's it. Done. So do we have any question, please? Okay, I think it's affected by network though. Okay, I can see the comment section. Is there any other question? Okay, so if there is none, I would love to go ahead right now. Okay. And I want to believe you learned a couple of things that would help you moving forward. It's not the hearer that is blessed, but the doer. So try your possible best to put in any of these things into practice. And I wish you the very best in your growth journey. I wish you the very best as you do better than the way you entered the university. Yeah. Dan.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do we have another question, please?
Okay. Does anybody have any other question?
Mm, all right. So can I run ahead now? All right. Bye, guys.
Okay, can you all hear me, please? Sorry, please, if you can hear me, just type on the comment section. Please, as we continue, as we bring in our next speaker, if you can hear me, please type on the comment section. Okay, Faith, give you praise. Daniel, and Busola. Okay, then. So before we move into our next section, can one person just tell me what they picked out from the last section that we just had? At least one thing that you picked out from the last section. You can type on the comment section. Okay, I'm not. Okay, then. So while we wait for the next speaker is running a bit late. So I would just want to say this about what our first speaker just said. That's Miss Esther before she left. I believe everyone can hear me clearly. Okay, Gibby Praise said, I learned how we can remain relevant by making the impact in the lives of the people around us. And Busola said, growth is not a matter of who starts first. Okay. Okay, that's beautiful. Who else has something to add to what we have said so far? Okay. So while we wait for our next speaker, I would love to say this now. When we are thinking of the fact that when we say beyond the four walls, like what comes to your mind? I want this section to be as interactive as possible. While we wait for the next speaker, I don't like he's running a bit late, but then let's have an interactive section before we start the next section. So when we talk about beyond the four walls, what comes to your mind? Okay, Faith, hear me. Welcome. What comes to your mind? Like, is it just about uni? And if you're a student, please you can just indicate in the comment section. If you're an entry level professional, you could indicate in the comment section. And if you're a freelancer, just let us know. I think we were supposed to do this at the beginning, but then we were not able to do that because of the lack of time. So let's know about you, maybe your name, where you're coming from, that's where you're joining us from, and then what you feel about the word or the team beyond the four walls. Like what comes to your mind, and also what you do. I think it would help me guide this brief section I want to have with you guys before the next speaker comes in. So I'm expectant of your comments. So I said that you can drop your name, where you're joining us from, and whether you're a freelancer, whether you're a student, whether you're an entry level professional, like whatever you are. Like let's get to know you better. That's okay. Maybe business not your own. Okay, Busola said that she's joining us from Lagos and she's a social media manager, but at an entry level. Okay, it's nice to have you around, Busola. It's nice to have you with us. So I'm going to say one or two things about social media management as an entry level professional. Okay, who else? Okay, okay, Faith is joining us. Okay, Faith is from Ikorodu and is a skincare consultant, a skincare and wellness consultant with Oriflame. Okay, and then we have Zainab from Lagos, and she's an entrepreneur who deals with foodstuffs and the rest. And we have Gibi Press from Petroleum Training Institute, Wari, who is a final year student. Okay, any other person? Oh, how do I get across to you? Okay, so okay, so back to what we were saying. So now we have a wellness and skincare consultant with us. We have an entrepreneur. We have a final year student. We have I think we also have like a social media and entry level professional. So now this is one thing I would always say. I'll start with the entry level professional now. So I'll start with the entry level professional. Please, you guys can hear me, right? Okay, so now being an entry level professional doesn't and shouldn't limit you from reaching the fullest of your potentials. Now I know that a lot of companies in Nigeria, or in fact globally, we see things on LinkedIn like give entry levels a chance, give like things like that. But then, and I see a lot of people actually looking for opportunities, especially when they are starting out. They're always saying like the entry level stage is probably the hardest to actually build a sustainable career. But then there are actually strategies, there are actually steps that you could actually use, that you could use to build that career, get yourself that head start from being an entry level professional, to, should I say, a career leader in your field or an industry leading expert in your field. And I think I'll be going into those sections, I'll be going into some of those strategies while we wait for the next speaker that is supposed to be joining us. And while I go into the sections, Faith Yemi said she's a final year student and also a fashion designer, and she's joining from Abuja. Okay, welcome, Faith. Okay, so now let's get back to what we were saying. Okay, sorry about the distraction. So let's get back to what we were saying. Being an entry level professional, being a small business owner, being um a freelancer, none of these stuffs at any point, as I said, should limit you from reaching your full potentials. As the first speaker already said, there's something about building relationships, especially when you're just starting out. There's something about personal development, especially when you're just starting out. Now, when you're starting out, your biggest motivation, now this from my personal experience, your biggest motivation shouldn't just be about how much money you could make at that point. Shouldn't just be about what you're going to be paid, but then rather the experiences that you can build at that point, the skill set that you can actually build at that point. Because especially in the Nigerian setting, especially in the Nigerian university setting, as I always keep on saying, that so many young people, so many students, I think based on research, about 600,000 graduates in Nigerian universities every year without a marketable skill. So your first priority as a small business owner, as an entrepreneur, sorry, as a student, as a graduate, as an entry level, should be actually gaining these skill sets first, building the experiences that would actually help you build the career that you actually want. You might be a social media manager today. Okay, let's say you have a skill set of a social media manager, but then knowing the beyond knowing what it means, beyond knowing what it takes to become a social media manager, there is also the part that deals with you selling yourself out there. There's also the part of you building your brand as a social media manager. There's also the part of you marketing yourself, because the truth is that we are our first major marketers. Whether you're trying to get a job, whether you're trying to build a business, whether you're a freelancer, the way you market yourself, the way you sell yourself is one of the things that, no matter how much knowledge you have from the skill set, if you're not able to market yourself well enough, if you're not able to put yourself, if you're not able to make people see the value of what you're actually doing, then you might have a bit of problems. So, whatever you're doing, whether you're a business owner, whether you're a freelancer, or whatever the case, or whatever the area you're based in, you should, number one, build your skill sets. Build your skill set beyond just what you are actually learning. Build your skill set beyond what you're trying to sell to people. Build your skill set beyond your business. You might have the best of products, but then without the right skill set to actually position these products in front of people as a small business owner, your business is still on the at a 50-50% chance of succeeding or not succeeding. You might graduate with a first class, but then without the skill set to actually build the connections, sell yourself to your recruiters on all your business, your career, you get to find out that you keep on searching for jobs for months or for years without getting one. And even as a freelancer, you might be very skilled at what you do, but then without those extra additional skill sets to actually without those extra additional skill sets that are supposed to help you position yourself as a freelancer, then you'd realize that you still have issues getting the amount of sales that you need, which is why you would find a lot of great social media managers, great freelancers, graphic designers, web developers, and the rest. With all these levels of skill set, they know their onions, but then they are not able to position themselves out there. So the first thing and most importantly is building your skill sets. The okay, sorry, give me a minute. I think our second speaker is almost here. so back to what we were saying, what we wait for the next speaker. So as I was saying, that the first and most important thing. I'm really sorry about that. My mic was still muted. Okay, so sorry about those interruptions. I just got information from the second speaker, and she's been experiencing a lot of technical issues, a lot of network issues, joining us for the section and with the platform itself. That's StreamYard, which we are using to host this conference. So I think the third speaker will be coming in as soon as possible while we try to sort out the technical issues that she's dealing with. So as I was saying, now beyond building skill sets, beyond what you actually learned or what you're actually doing as a business owner or student or graduate or whatever you are, I think one of these most important things after building these skill sets, after building this additional skill set, is building relationships. The truth is that I think the first speaker said a few things about this, but then we really don't. Sometimes I feel we tend to underestimate the power of relationships. I know you might be asking yourself, like, how am I? Like, I'm just starting my life, I'm just a graduate, I'm just a small business owner. Then, how am I supposed to build valuable relationships that can actually help me build my business or make my business better? The truth is that you should actually know this is that there are two ways to build. There are two ways to build. We build both horizontally and vertically. That's you build both with people that are actually above you and with people that are below you. Now, how do you build with people that are actually above you? You build with people that are above you by service. Now, I think I want to correct this during this call. A lot of young people get into the DMs of those that they consider their role models, those that they consider their mentors, those that they look up to. And then the first message that you're dropping is, "Hello, sir, I love what you do and I want you to be my mentor." The truth is that, like, now, while that is really intentional of you, while that is really beautiful of you, yes, you want to be mentored by some of these people, you want to build a relationship with them. But I want you to look at things from this perspective that most of these people have, especially if they have really gone as far as you, if they have really gone as far as, like, to that extent that you might want to consider them your mentor or people that you look up to. Let's say they have built a community of over 10,000 people on Instagram, 20,000, 50,000, 100,000, or whatever the number is. Like, whatever platform it is, they're actually, or maybe they're CEO of a company, heading something, just building something that inspires you. The truth is that most of those people, they probably already have one or two persons, or at least 10, 15 people that are also reaching out to them with that same message. And there are two things that are going to be happening at that point. Number one, because they are so used to seeing these kind of messages, they might not be able to give you the attention that you need, because there's literally nothing that's separating you from the other ones. And secondly, everyone is dealing with one thing or the other, or trying to reach their next biggest level. Everyone is trying to reach their next big level. Everyone is trying to get their next check. Everyone is trying to get their next bag of cash or money. So, like, when you come to this kind of people's DMs, like, and the first perception you're giving them about you is that you want to collect, you want to take, you want to get. Like, it's it's more like your I don't want to use, I think nuisance is more of a strong word. Nuisance is more of a really, really strong word. But then, like, you might not get the response that you need. So one thing you can do in conditions like that, one thing you can do in issues like that, when moments like that come, is instead of reaching out and then you're talking about you want to get mentorship or you want to get access to this for free and all those kind of things, like, why not come from the position of service? Even with how far I've come, some of the people that I've built some of the best relationships with, I didn't reach out to them because of the level I've actually attained, but because of how valuable I was able to position myself to them. And this doesn't matter if you're a student, this doesn't matter if you're a graduate, this doesn't matter if you're a business owner, this doesn't matter if you're a freelancer or entry level professional or any of those things, or a job seeker. You can always build yourself as someone of value to anybody that you're trying to meet. When I was able to position myself in this way, I was able to get, um, should I say, the response rates that I got from most of these people, like, skyrocketed or tripled or if not quadrupled. So, like, how do you place yourself as someone of value? How do you place yourself as someone of value? Number one, it still falls back to the first thing that we discussed. Like, what can you offer? Money is not always everything. The first speaker spoke about volunteering. What can you offer that might be unique to you? And if you don't have anything that is just unique to you, you don't have to overthink it. But how can this person that probably has it all, how can they benefit? Like, what can you do that would help them, that they'll benefit one or two things from? And that's where, beyond your skill sets, like, okay, we have our next speaker, but then just to round this up, as I said, like, when you're thinking about what you can offer now, look at from a standpoint of your skill sets, look at from the standpoint of what you have. Look at from it can be as small as, okay, maybe they are hosting a program and then you share the flyer to your network. Maybe they are hosting your program and you reach out to them. Okay, please, I'd love to volunteer for the publicity of this program. I'd love to volunteer anything at all. It depends on the context that you're coming from. But then the most important thing is always come from a standpoint of value. Because at the end of the day, beyond just having a skill set, beyond just building additional skill sets, relationships will take you places that money can't. And if you're just starting out in life, then there is a very high chance that you might not be able to have the kind of money that you need to actually access some of these opportunities. I'm just going to end with saying with exactly what the last speaker said about a hangout that she's hosting. That literally there are some things that she was supposed to get, and those things would have cost her over 150,000. And literally, because of the network that she had built, because of the connection that she had built with this person from volunteering, spending money from her own pocket just to go to this person's company, just go to the CEO's company, he was literally able to call her and sponsor almost things worth 150,000 for the conference in barely 48 hours. So whether you've taken something out of this, like the long or the short section I've just had with you guys, it's no matter what skill set that you have, it is not enough. Learn how to market yourself, learn how to sell. And also, most importantly, beyond just learning how to sell, make sure that you're building relationships in the process. Building relationships vertically with those above you and horizontally with those that are your level or even below you. Because at the end of the day, every relationship matters. Thank you very much. And please, let's get a pens and paper. get our jotters as we bring in the next speaker, Mr. Caleb, who is a finance guru in a lot of areas. Now, beyond just okay, so beyond just making all the money, beyond just building a strong network, beyond just personal development and all those things, I think one of the areas we young people falter in is when it comes to finances. There are a lot of young people, you can see a young person maybe did a contract or something and got a millionaire, and then in 1 month or in 2 weeks or something, literally that money is no more. And then you're wondering, like, how did this happen? Like, how did they lose the money? And they can't even give you track of how the money was lost. They can't tell you, okay, this is how I spent this money. So, like, beyond, if at the end of the day, even if you've built the biggest of networks, you've become an industry leading expert in your field, if it's not showing in your bank account, if it's not showing financially also, then there might be a problem. And Mr. Caleb is the one person that we can trust to actually correct that problem and proffer solutions and strategies that will help you build the mindset that you need to actually win the finance game and build a financially independent life. So, Mr. Caleb, I don't know if you'd want to turn on your camera so we could see you. Welcome to tonight's section, and the floor is all yours. Thank you very much, sir.
Mike. All right, so can you hear me? Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Mr. Dan. Am I audible? Hello. Please, I need a response. Am I audible? Hello. Okay. Good evening, everyone. Once again, thank you very much for having me on this conference. And basically, I'm just going to share with you some thoughts that has to do with you being able to build wealth, and not just wealth as the team is, but you having the ability to build generational wealth. Now, I'm going to start by sharing my story, and based on the fact that we have a lot of young people on this meeting or on this call, and I think that would pretty much resonate with you because I started my journey to making money at a very young age, and in the process, I learned a lot of things. In the process, I failed. In the process, I made good money. In the process, I met a lot of people, and the story I really want to share with you or with us, it's something that I believe that every young person needs because many times when we talk about wealth creation, when we talk about financial freedom, it is very easy for people to just think it's all about making money. As a matter of fact, most young people just focus on building skill sets, building learning some powerful or amazing things, or getting in even into business at that age. But at the end of the day, they realize that in as much as they keep engaging themselves in business, they keep engaging themselves in doing one activities or the other, they still realize that they don't actually get to that point where they become financially free, all right, or where they say, okay, I at least to an extent, I've actually been able to, create some level amount or some level of wealth for myself. And the missing link is the fact that people don't really understand what wealth creation is. people don't really understand what financial freedom is. And like I said, I started out um, pretty much very young. That was when I was still in secondary school. I started helping my mom out in her businesses, and at some exceptional days, the same business anyway. I get to, venture into some activities that had to do with me making money for myself. All right. So that energy, that enthusiasm actually moved me into higher institution. And of course, before I get admission into school, I've written jam pretty much like 4 times. All right. So I wasn't really failing jam actually. I was actually having issues with post UTME because I wanted to study in Unilag. That was my, dream school as it were. But of course, God's plan for my life wasn't really for me to study there. But I really did not know so much. So I wrote post UME back to back in Unilag. Okay, Unilag wasn't working. I moved to Yaba Tech, but I just wanted to school in Lagos. All right, because I loved, Lagos. Unfortunately, it didn't work. So after staying at home for 4 years, I gained admission into Federal University of Technology at Korea, and being the fact that I gained admission pretty late, so most of my classmates were not actually at my level when it comes to age. All right. So I wasn't out there to start mingling with them. I wasn't out there to start wasting all my time because here I am. I've lost 4 years already. All right. So my goal, my dreams, everything was about I needed to be a millionaire before I leave school. That was my that was everything I wanted, when it comes to finances. I wanted to be a millionaire before I leave school. I didn't want to graduate and start, working my way out. So everything I did was, majorly on that. And that, created an environment where I did a lot of businesses in school. As a matter of fact, when I was in 300 level, I was awarded as the best student entrepreneur at that particular year in school. And eventually, when I got to my final year, I actually made my first million as a student. At that time, at my final year, I already got a car, a brand new car, worth about 9 million naira. That was then, I think I was still around 20, 24, 25 years old. All right. So like I said, I started hitting millions at a pretty much early age. And when that phase actually faded off, I went back broke. All right. I went broke again. At some point, I started that was when I graduated from no, I finished NYSC. So immediately I finished NYSC, I started another company that in 2 years we did over in transaction, we did more than over 50, 100 million naira in 2 years. All right. So we got a lot of results. So all of those transactions, at least on the profit level, we could look at bargain between 20, 30 million, So, but at that point again, I went broke again. So, when I talk about finances, when I talk about wealth creation, I don't just speak from a perspective of, anybody can come here and tell you, oh, wealth creation, the principle of wealth, there are 5 ways. No, I don't do all of that. I share my experiences with you and I share thoughts that can also help you move from where you are to where you need to be, your thoughts, how you need to be thinking for you to actually create wealth. So in that process, of course, after that big hit in 2019 stroke 2021, you know, again I had a lot of financial, issues where I made wrong decisions financially and all of that. And you know, that really affected me again. So I needed to sit down and like, what is really going on? When it comes to making money, I'm very good at making money. But over time, I realized that it was so difficult for me to keep or manage or grow what I was making. So Now, listen to this. The work that you need to do to be wealthy, it is not about how much you can make. It's about how much you can manage and multiply. Anybody can make money. Even a fool can make money. Give a guy a gun for him to go to the highway or whatever to go and rob. In 24 hours, he can be a millionaire. People who win lottery tickets, people who win, various awards, who overnight, probably they've given them 50 million, 100 million, whatever you call it, whatever amount. You realize that check those persons over time, they come back to their original level. So what that means is it is not a function of how much you can make. That's why when I see business people talk, when I see entrepreneurs, young entrepreneurs talk, when it comes to the money, we have seen that money at least to an extent. So my major advice to young entrepreneurs or young business people is as much as you are growing your business, please carry wealth education alongside, because at the end of the day, it's not about how much your company has made, it's about how much your company has retained. All right. And if you don't have a strategy to manage and retain money, through this over time, your business can even close up because cash flow is king. You being able to manage your finances is very critical. All right. So at that point, I got so tired. Like, I've made huge millions two times, two consecutive times. I've lost it. What do I need to do? So I stumbled on a meeting that was held with Nii Adesanya. He hosted a, um, a man which happened to be my mentor today, and I just, okay, let me just try. The theme of that training was financial freedom or financial intelligence. And I entered, it was a free Zoom training. And I entered just 5, 10 minutes into that meeting. It got so clear to me what my problem was. Prior to that time, I was even thinking, oh, do I really have a spiritual problem? Was it really, I was thinking so many things. But I realized that it wasn't about the fact that I had any spiritual problem. As a matter of fact, I was my problem. I was actually my own demon. All right. So when I stumbled into that training, then I began understanding how this thing should work. So my mentor organized a master class in Lagos. I drove all the way from Benin to Lagos, and it was a 2-day master class. So he took us through the journey to financial freedom, the journey to wealth creation, and that transformed my entire life today. All right. So apart from that training, I needed, because that consciousness, there was a mind shift, there was a mind shift. So that created the consciousness that, oh, this truly exists. This thing truly exists. So there was a consciousness that I carry, and that has created the environment that I've built, you know, what I am currently doing and who I am today. All right. So so the lesson that I want us to know today is that for you to truly become financially free, or for you to truly become, wealthy, there are three things you must do. Three things you must do. The first one is you must acquire massive, or you must acquire financial intelligence. You must acquire financial intelligence. Number two, you must understand financial planning. Then number three, you must be financially disciplined. The first is financial intelligence, the second is financial planning, while the third is financial discipline. All right, so now let's talk about financial intelligence. What is financial intelligence? It will amaze you that a lot of people want money but have not taken their time to study what money truly is. Billions of people around the world, millions of people around the world wake up every single morning. They go to their work or they go to their businesses or whatever you call it, but some of this person has not taken their time and say, hey, this thing that I'm actually looking for, how much have I studied about it? How much do I know about money? All right. So what financial intelligence will do for you is financial intelligence will sharpen your IQ. Just the same way you want to be a doctor, you get what we call you get education, or you get educated in a doctorate degree. You want to be a lawyer, you get the necessary education, that can help you function as a lawyer. You want to be a pilot, you get the necessary education that will help you function as a pilot. The same way, if you want to be wealthy, you need the necessary education that will make you function as somebody that truly wants to create wealth. Because I say to people, wealth creation is not just something that will happen. Wealth creation is a skill, it's something you learn. Just the same way you learn how to make whatever, you learn how to become this, just, various skills. As a matter of fact, wealth creation is a skill. It's something that if you don't learn it, you can never be wealthy. The truth is, you can stumble on cash. You can stumble on cash, but you cannot stumble on wealth. Wealth is meant to be created. Wealth is meant to be created. Anybody can stumble on cash. When it comes to the subject of wealth, you must learn how to create it. Why? Because it doesn't matter how much money you get or how much money somebody gives to you. You only come back to the level of the mindset that you have, the money mindset that you have, the wealth creation mindset that you have. You will only fall back to that level. So even if you give somebody who is poor in his mindset, if you give the person 100 million, guess what? He will blow the money to a point whereby he can where to a level that can accommodate his level of thinking. All right, because so what financial intelligence will do for you, financial intelligence will help you, give you this consciousness, give you this awakening, so that all your money decisions are going to be at least 80% right. Because we all make decisions, but and decisions make us. All right, so what the decisions you make on your money is what determine your financial destination. The decisions you make when you get 100,000, when you get 1 million, when you get 500,000, when you get 50,000, all the decisions that you are going to make on that 50,000 is regulated by the level of financial intelligence that you have attained. And if you don't have sound financial intelligence, you are going to make wrong decisions on those money. And before you know it, the money starts leaving you. Money starts leaving you. Why? Because money only goes to where it can be managed and multiplied. It's a law. We call it the money magnet principle. So money is very selective. Money only goes to where it can be managed and multiplied. So if you are somebody who doesn't have the capacity, who doesn't have the right mindset, the right environment for money to function at its maximum, money will always flow out of you. As it's coming, it's going out. Why? Because all your decisions are going to be wrong. All your investment decisions are going to be wrong. All your spending decisions are going to be wrong. In fact, every decision you make on that money, it's going to be wrong. And guess what? The money will gradually be leaving you without even you knowing it. You will just wake up one day and realize that all the money that you just made recently, it's no longer in your bank account. And you start asking yourself, has the money gone to? The money has literally left you, because by default, money was created. That's why they call it currency. Currency is was formed out of the word current, and current flows. So money is designed to flow by default. That's why you realize that whenever you make whenever you make money, there are so many things that keep coming your way, so many ideas, so many things, so many things that you never even thought you were going to use money for, or so many things that are not really so demanding. Before the money came, you realize that you start spending the money, and before you know it, money is gone. Why? Because money was designed to flow. So, and you can never create wealth until you have the capacity to control the flow of money. You must learn to gain, control of your money. As a matter of fact, somebody said something. He said, if you don't know how to control money and money is controlling you, through this, you will definitely lose control as long as money is controlling you. So it's critical that we gain sound financial intelligence. So that sound financial intelligence will help us, will sharpen our financial IQ, our IQ about money, and that will guide our decisions. A lot of people have wasted money on wrong investments. Somebody will walk up to you and tell you, oh, there is one business somewhere, or there is one investment, probably cryptocurrency, or call it different kind of investment, and they'll tell you that this investment is going to be paying you 1% daily. Now, because you don't understand the financial intelligence, principles that backs investment, you just all the everything you just see is okay. I'm going to earn 1%. Then you start calculating, okay, if I'm going to earn 1% in 6 days, 60% in 1 month is whatever. Before you know it, okay, sign me up. You put in all the money you've saved. Overnight, all your money is gone. Why? Because you don't understand the principles that backs investment. So financial intelligence demands that whenever an opportunity, investment opportunity comes your way, you take it through your financial intelligence test. So if it passes that financial intelligence test, that will determine the decision to make. I have lost millions of naira to wrong investment until I learned some of these principles. All right. So, and recently you realize that my wastage, to investment has actually reduced drastically. There's an investment that actually came up. I think that was early this year, if I'm not mistaken. And so many people around me, they were doing it. Some persons were cashing out, blah blah blah. And I told them, see, this thing will not last. This is a system. This is something that I've been into. It will not work. Before you know it, stories here and there, and that was all. So when I took that particular opportunity through my financial intelligence test, didn't pass it. And I told them that I'm not going to do it. All right. So, and that's it. So now the next one is what we call financial planning. Financial planning is first of all you knowing where you're going. The idea is you want to create wealth. That is where you're going. That's your destination. Now we may need to in some of my mentorship program, I would need to, break it down to, okay, fine. In 5 years' time, how do you, or what kind of wealth do you want to control? What kind of wealth do you want to create in figures? All right. So you can say, okay, in next 5 years, I want to be 50 million naira richer. I want to have asset worth, 100 million, asset worth 200 million, whatever. So now that is your destination. Now, when you know your destination, I'm explaining financial planning now. When you know where you're going, it's critical that you also know where you are. For example, there is no airline you want to book today in this country. There is no airline you want to book. And the first question that I'm going to ask you, immediately you get on a call with them and say, okay, I want to ask for the flight going to Lagos. And the first question they will ask you is, from where? So for you to really know what it will take you to move from point A to point B, the price that you need to pay from point A to point B is, you must know your destination, and you must also understand your current position. All right. So, how do you know your current position? You can define that by understanding, by analyzing your net worth. What are you worth at this point? All right. So, what is your net worth? Your net worth is the difference between what you owe and what you own. So, if you own assets, if you own a business, also look at what do you owe. So, when you subtract what you owe from what you own, you can either be in positive, you can either be in negative, or you can be probably on equilibrium. All right. So once you design or once you discover where you are, you know where you're going. All right. So the difference between where you are and where you're going, it's what we call your wealth gap. So, and for you to move from point A to point B, you need what we call, financial planning, and you also need a vehicle that will take you through that journey. All right. So, your financial planning, that is where you understand, okay, what year do you want to retire? You design your retirement plan. You actually determine your financial goals. You actually determine, okay, if you're going to get married, at what year do you want to get married? In your financial planning, you design, okay, how many kids do you want to have? Even at this age, yes, you can start looking at some of those things. It's what we call financial planning. All right. So when you know your requirement, it is very easy for you to know what are the things that you need to focus on. Some of us don't even have an idea. In the next 5 6 years, we're going to get married. Now, if you know you're going to get married in the next 5 6 or 7 or even 10 years, you can start planning if have some details about the future, it will help you know how you're going to design your life today. All right. So when you know, okay, you're going to have 2 kids, you are going for the guys, you want to live in so and so place, you'll be able to afford a car for your wife, you know, just design this what you intend, things that you need to you intend achieving, things you intend doing with money, in the space of 5 10 years. So when you have that outlined, you now know that, oh, this is the amount of money I need to generate. All right. So what that will also help you do is, because you know where you're going, whenever money comes to you, you are more conscious about how the money leaves you, because you are working on something. You are working on something. You are not just making money for the fun of it. You are working on something. All right. So you also need to know, okay, how many assets do I need to have in the space of 5 10 years? So when you have that, your financial plan laid down in clear terms, then the final one will show up, which what we call financial discipline. Financial discipline is the ability for you to follow the plan. All right. So there are so many things that will definitely come in your way to distract you from that plan. Probably you want to spend, on some certain things that are not needed. You want to, there's so many things that would want to distract you. So financial discipline requires that you follow the plan. So, but let me not take it too complex. Let me not go through the over too much. Let me not take it on the plan on a path that is pretty much too complex for us. But let me just say this here. There are 4 things that is critical that you must train yourself to do. 4 things. In most of my trainings, just free trainings like this, I share it often and often and often. There are 4 things you must do if you want to at least start that journey. The first thing is you must settle your issue of income, because I mean you cannot manage or multiply what you are not making. So income is very critical. So if you have one stream of income, diversify. As a matter of fact, by divine mandate, it is important that we have nothing less than 4 streams of income. All right. So if you have one stream of income, look at other sources of income that, or other sources that you can, generate income. Why? Because the income level is actually the doorway to, create the wealth, because it is what you do with your income that determines your wealth. All right, so that's why you would want to increase your income. So irrespective of how the income is coming, whether it's an active income or passive income, of course the entire ideology of creating wealth and transgenerational wealth is for you to move from active income to passive income. Is for you to move from active to passive. So it's critical that if you are currently on your active stage of your life, you are still a very young person, you have a job, you run a business, that is your act. These are actually your active years. So it is important that you understand that you will not always be this active. A time will come where you will definitely retire. It's either you retire by choice or you retire by force. All right. So whereby health will catch up with you. Sorry, age is going to catch up with you. So at that level, you need to retire. So you need to start planning how you would live your life in the next 50 years. As a matter of fact, when I started out as a business person, I told myself that I'm going to retire at the age of 40. Even though at the age of 40, I don't actually get to retire. It's possible I can do 45, it's possible I can do 50, but it's way better than somebody who just lives his life and doesn't even plan that, oh, I'm going to retire at this age. Because when you know that you're retiring at a particular age, you know how long you have, the time you have, what you need to do, the energy you need to put in, the knowledge that you need to acquire, the wisdom, that you need to put in place to help you achieve, that level. Because at the end of the day, when you get to, your retirement age, the number of assets you have will now determine how financially free or the kind of wealth that you have created over time. And of course, that is how you transfer those wealth from one generation to another. All right. So the first thing is you must settle your income. If you have one stream of income, increase your stream, make more money, leverage on opportunities. Now you're still very young, leverage on opportunities, make all the money that you want to make. Now, when you start making the money, the next thing you need to do consciously is you need to save. All right, you need to develop the habit of saving. So what is saving? Saving is you putting apart a fraction of your active income. As a matter of fact, somebody defines saving as you actually putting apart a fraction of your active income that you can actually convert into assets in future that can start generating passive income for you. So if your income is probably 100, 200, or 300,000 on a monthly basis, on an average, you can say, okay, based on your age, because the older you get, the more price you need to pay. So if you want to be financially free and you start out at the age of 20, you start out at the age of 18, you have a higher chance. As a matter of fact, you pay less price at that age. But if you are already on in your 30s or 40s, you need to pay more. All right. So if you are in your 30s or 40s, you cannot be doing 10% of your active income. It won't work. You cannot be doing 20%, except maybe your active income is so huge that 10% of it is already running in millions. Fine and well. All right. So, but if you are still young, you have less, price to pay. So you want to start out with 20% of whatever active income you have. You put it on, we call it an investment account. Now, on that investment account, you don't touch it. Irrespective of whatever wants to happen, you don't touch it. So you make the money, you make the active income, you put it there. You make the active income, you put it there. Now, the essence of saving is there are two reasons you save. You save for emergencies and you save for opportunities. You save for emergencies and you save for opportunities. I tell people life happens. Even bad things happen to good people. So that is why you want to put yourself in a position whereby if anything happens to you today, for example, COVID-19, a lot of people did not see it coming. Some of the civil servants, teachers, they didn't see it coming. Private schools shut down. A lot of organization that requires people to go there physically, they actually shut down. They had to, all their staffs needed to stay at home. But a lot of people were not prepared for COVID-19 through savings. So that was an emergency. Now you have, family to take care of, but your income has actually been cut down overnight. So what happens? Do you have enough money that can sustain you for the next 6 months, 1 year, even when you have an emergency? All right. So that is where savings come in. So that's why I said you save for two reasons. You save for emergencies and you save for opportunities. Now, why do you save? How do I explain saving for opportunities? Don't forget, when you save when you save money, all right, you put yourself in a position whereby whenever somebody has an emergency, you can actually take advantage of that emergency to become an opportunity. Let me give you for example, this is you have a fraction of whatever you have, or you save a fraction of whatever you have, you put it in an account, just put it there. All right, so like I tell people, money is never enough. If you save or you don't save, money it's never enough. So whether you save or you don't save, it will never be enough. So why not save and yet the money is not enough, rather than not saving and the money will not still be enough? All right. So you don't spend everything you get. As a matter of fact, I listened to a video by Mr. Olankule Shorion. He said something very profound. He said, by human design, we are people who should have the ability to preserve. But the animal design, that's why in the forest, when a lion kills and his prey, he eats that particular prey from beginning to end. Why? Because there is no refrigerator in the bush. There's no refrigerator. There's no preservative system, in the forest. So when any animal kills a prey, it has to eat that prey from beginning to end. So they don't save in the forest. So that means if you are somebody who eats or who spends everything that you get, as a matter of fact, they should add an animal name to your name. Why? Because you are not functioning as a human. By human design, we are people, or we are humans, or we are, we should have a preservative, system, or we should have a preservative habit. We should have a preservative functionality. All right. So whenever you have income, you are expected not to spend everything you get, because the only proof that you made money 3 years ago is actually the fraction of what you saved. So if you made 50 million 3 years ago and today you are struggling, you are looking for money, that is foolishness. So it's a fraction of whatever you save that would speak for you in future. So when you save, you are actually, creating opportunities for yourself in the future. So what that means is people who don't save falls into emergencies. For example, somebody has a land that is worth over 5 million. Unfortunately, he came across an emergency where his child is sick, or maybe something happened and he needs maybe 2 million or 2.5 million. Now this guy is trying to save his life, or is trying to save somebody's life, and he walk up to you and tell you that, see, I have a land worth 5 million, but if you can offer me 2 million naira, because I'm in dire need of those money. That is what we call distress sale. A lot of us have seen, some of those stuffs on the internet and all of that. Or somebody has called you and say, oh, there's somebody that is interested, or that has a property, a distressed property, or a distressed car or whatever. Now you are paying 2 million naira for a land that ought to be worth 5 million naira. Now what that means is somebody's emergency has now become your opportunity. But it can only become a opportunity when you are saving. So the reason you save is you are saving and you are waiting for the next opportunity. That is why I tell people always have cash reserved, always have cash somewhere. Why? Because when you have cash somewhere, you become a money magnet. Money only goes to where there is existing money. Money only locates places where there is existing money. Why do you think the banks actually borrow money to people who already have the money? It's only people that have money that the banks are willing to give them more money. People who are broke, people who are on the street that even really need the money, banks hardly even borrow them money. But you see somebody who is already a millionaire, bank is begging this guy, oh, please, how much do you need? We want to fund your business. Blah, blah. So why? Because it's the principle of becoming a money magnet. There are a lot of principles on money magnet. So, but I'm just trying to touch all of that. So the first is your income. The second is develop a savings plan or develop an habit of saving. So if 20%, 30% of whatever your active income is should be put aside in saving. All right. So the next thing you need to grow, the next thing you need to consciously do is you need to understand investment. All right. So you need to invest. But the fact is, a lot of people don't understand what investment truly is. All right. So investment is not that one online, stuff. Somebody is telling you, oh, okay, let me share link with you, register, you fund with $100, and every day they'll be giving you $1. So people have this short-term mindset about investment. Investment has to do with the future. Investment is about you building a portfolio that to a point whereby that portfolio become a passive income for you. For example, you have an active income of, let's say, 200K or 100,000 or 50,000 naira, and a fraction of whatever you're making, you are saving over 5 years, over 10 years. At some point that money will become huge. Now, in that process, you also need to gain financial intelligence. Why? Because you can still save, and in just one day, you will lose all your saving to a wrong investment. I'll share a story with you. I know of a lady who she worked in the bank in FCMB precisely, and she worked, I think, for pretty much like four, I think about a year or 2 years or whatever. And over that time, she was able to save over, I think, over 600 to 800K, from her salary. Now she resigned from her job probably because of the work and all of that, and now she has a savings of 800K. Guess what? In less than 1 to 2 months, she lost everything. Why? Because somebody introduced her to one cryptocurrency business, and she bought some coin, but she because it's not like cryptocurrency business was bad, but she didn't understand the business. So that's why I tell people, before you do an investment, this is wisdom. Before you venture into an investment, please understand the investment first. If you want to choose real estate, of course, which I recommend, if you want to choose real estate as an investment vehicle, please understand what real estate is, understand how real estate works. If you want to choose forex trading, please go and learn forex. Don't give anybody your money. If you want to use cryptocurrency, go and learn cryptocurrency. If you want to use any investment vehicle you want to learn, at least go any investment vehicle you want to use, at least go and learn, go and get the knowledge. All right, because if you get the knowledge and you lose money in the process, at least you have gained the knowledge. You can do better the next time. You can do better the next time. But when you give somebody your money and the person loses the money, your money is gone and you didn't gain anything, you didn't even get the knowledge. So rather than telling people, please take my money to invest or whatever, and it's not like you cannot give them your money, but before you do that, gain some basic knowledge about that investment. So that will guide you on, okay, should I put maybe 50% of my investment or my savings, or should I put 20%? Because there are three kinds of investment. There's what we call the high risk, the medium risk, and the low risk. All right. And of course, you would know that the higher the risks, the higher the return, rather, the higher the risk. The minimal the return, the minimal the risk. The lower the return, the lower the risk. So a lot of people don't think about what is in for them to lose. All they think about is what is in for them to gain. So you have an opportunity placed in front of you. The next thing you're thinking about is how much am I going to make in 3 months? All right, okay, you're going to make so much more. You're in haste when you put your money, but you don't understand the back end. The back end is telling you the propensity or the probability of you losing your money is also high, because why? It's a high yield return on investment. So you can actually also, you are exposing your savings, you're exposing your capital to a high risk. It can just go overnight, and a lot of people have experienced that over the years. All right, so that's why, like I said, it takes us back again to financial education or financial intelligence, so that will guide you through. All right, so I've talked about investment. Then the final thing you need to cultivate, final mindset or habit or character you need to cultivate is you always need to live a minimal life. Live live a moderate life. I think that was my basic problem. When I make money, I live a life to the money that I'm making. All right. See, let me tell you the truth. If you see a billionaire today, that particular person, if he's spending money in millions, is because he has already started making billions. If he's spending money in hundreds or thousand or maybe 5 million, maybe he wants to do a party or whatever, you see him spending 10 million, 20 million, he already has like 500 million somewhere. Or probably he has a business that can generate that the money that he's spending today. All right. So you don't just spend, you don't just live, a flashy life, because you feel you have money. The fact is, you don't spend money because you don't buy things because you can afford them. You need to buy things because you need them. So there are two tests, I always take my spending action through. Whenever I want to spend, I'm very slow in spending. As a matter of fact, both of us can do a negotiation and I'll tell you, okay, I'll get back to you. It's not like I don't want to get it. I'll tell you I'll get back to you. And you start calling me. What I'm doing is I'm doing some level of analysis, taking my time through. Do I really need this thing? Okay, if it's what I need, do I really need it now? Are there alternatives? It's taking through some series of tests. So there are two tests. You must do the must have or the need to have and the nice to have test. There are some certain things that you need to have, while there are some certain things that are just nice to have. All right. So by the time you take your spending through those tests, I am not saying you shouldn't spend. All I'm saying is you should spend smartly and spend wisely. All right. As a matter of fact, channel your spending to create even value. All right. So whenever you spend, you should spend in a way whereby you can get a return, either directly or indirectly. For example, you want to buy a shoe and you can afford a shoe of probably 30,000 naira, and that shoe of 30K or 40K is very strong and it can take you 2, 3, 4 years. Now, because you think, oh, I don't want to spend, you're not going to buy a shoe of maybe 5K, and that 5,000 naira shoe, cannot take you even more than 6 months to max 1 year. You realize that you would have bought like 10 different of those shoes before even the one you bought of 40K, it will get bad. So at the end of the day, you realize that you would have even spent more. That is for somebody who can afford a shoe worth that amount. But if you cannot, of course, you can go with what you can afford. Life is in phases, men are in sizes. You live your size per time. So what I'm saying is, you always need to live a minimal life. All right. So there's a law called the Pakistan law of money. Now, what that law states is, whenever you make money, your problem always rise. Your problems, things you need to use money for, always rise to the level of your income. So you see somebody earning 100,000 and you think, oh, wow, this guy is very comfortable. He himself, he knows that he's comfortable. Immediately they promote him and he start earning 500,000. You realize that his lifestyle would always want to catch up with his income. So all the things that he thinks he doesn't or he never knew he did not have will start coming, start surfacing. Why? Because there's a law that is working there. So the law, says your expenditures, your things you need to solve, your problems will always rise to the level of your income. So that's why you need to gain that control. So that you had a raise, you made more money, doesn't give you the permission to start buying things, doesn't give you the permission to live a bigger life, doesn't give you the permission to move from one bedroom flat to a duplex, doesn't give you the permission to move from a car that you're already driving and you're comfortable and start living a more flamboyant life. That's why you need to live minimally. So, and finally, I will tell you this fact: wealthy people actually spend the third generation or the fourth generation of their money. You are not permitted to spend the money that you make. If you are doing a business, and that business generates profit, you are not supposed to start spending the profit. You are supposed to probably reinvest that money into the same business, or if the money is good enough for you to invest in other forms of investment, you invest the money. When the money has produced children, the money has produced profit, some persons go ahead again and invest that profit and the capital into something again. And don't forget, within that period, you are denying yourself. As I tell people, in your journey to create wealth, you either pay now or play later, or you play now and pay later. So when you are doing those your investments, people think, oh, you are making money, yes, but you're not dressing, you're just still living your minimal life, because you are building your portfolio, you are building your asset. So a time comes whereby your asset level has generated children, you have put them together, generate more children, put them together, generate more children, maybe the fourth generation. That's when you now start spending. That's where you're going to buy your car from. That's when you're going to, buy your iPhones or whatever, some of those flashy things from. And people will see you are like, wow. And even in the process of buying those things, you are still financially stable. Why? Because you have started, the money you are spending is not the first or second or third generation. Probably you have started, you're spending it. Okay, let's just put it at third generation or fourth generation of your money. So the wealthy doesn't spend their first generation. The wealthy spend probably their third or their fourth generation. So the money must give birth to children and children and children before they start spending, flamboyantly and start seeing some of those things. And that's what the poor look at. And the poor just spend money just to impress people that doesn't really care. So when you impress people and those same people don't care, the moment you go broke, only you are the only one that is going to bear the shame. All right. So it's critical that you observe these four things: increase your income, deliberately save a fraction of your income, learn investment, invest, because investment is the only way to multiply money. Then live minimally, live a moderate life. You don't need to show off. As a matter of fact, people who are truly wealthy, you don't see it on them. It's only the poor people. Some maybe you just touch one money, and the next thing the whole street already know that. So all of those things are not called for. Wealthy people actually don't really show off, because my friend will always tell me, he said, money no they make noise. That's why they know they play music for bank. Thank you very much, guys. Okay, you can take on from there, Mr. Dan.
Okay.
Okay,
Sorry, can you guys hear
sorry,
me?
can you guys hear me? Yes, we can hear you.
It seems like it's
Seems
echoing.
like
Can
it's
you mute
echoing. Can
yourself?
you mute yourself?
Hello? Okay, I think it's better now. Okay, so thank you so much, Mr. Caleb, for your section. That was really, really amazing. I believe like everyone that was on this section, like everyone that was available for this section, like heard every single thing you said, and I think if not for any other person, like at least the people on this section tonight should be on their journey to building generational wealth. The truth is that it's not going to be a day's journey, it's not going to be a month's journey, it's not even going to be a year. This generational wealth we're talking about. And no matter how long it's going to take, the good news is that it is more possible than ever now. Like the age that we're in, this digital age makes it so easy for someone to build the kind of wealth that our forefathers or our fathers could never build. So, like, I want to really appreciate you, Mr. Caleb. I would have loved to add more, but then I feel like you've said it all when it comes to this area of finances and generational wealth. I don't know if anybody will still have a question for you. Okay. If not, like I would love to ask Mr. Caleb, do you have any final words that you love to leave us with as we round up the section? Do you have anything that you'd love to, like that one striking thing that maybe from your past experience, from your journey, like anything at all that stood out for you and you want to leave us with it?
Okay, so my final word is for every young person, please focus on knowledge. Focus on knowledge. All right. So because you don't get in life what you want, you get in life who you are. You don't get in life what you want, you get in life who you are. So what knowledge does is knowledge improves you, knowledge grows you, because the version of you that truly want to create wealth is not this version that is listening to me today. There's a version of you that must evolve, that has the capacity to handle the wealth that you truly want. All right. So that's why when you focus on personal development, you focus on knowledge, you grow. And the more you grow, the more you know, the more you grow. And the more you learn, the more you earn. So there is a thin line between who you are and what you want. So don't just focus on what you want, focus on who you are. Because many times the prayer that we pray, a lot of us doesn't have the capacity to receive the prayers, the answers to the prayers. So it's not about what you truly want, it's about who you are. Because God will only increase you based on your capacity. So that's why consciously develop you financially, increase your skill set, learn a lot of things about money, attend classes, because the biggest mistake you can ever make in your life is that you get to a point where you make millions and you lose it. It's so painful. If not that some of us we have that courage to start all over again. Probably by now we would have been in the streets. But my advice is constantly develop yourself, increase your money mindset, because it's not a function of what you want, it's a function of who you are. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Caleb. Thank you so much, Mr. Caleb. And I believe everyone has heard so much, and this section is going to be available live for most of our audience that we're not able to join tonight's section. So I believe like everything that you've shared with us today, it's not just going to be impacting those that joined this today, but it's going to be impacting generations to come. So I sincerely can't appreciate you enough for everything. Sky can't appreciate you enough. And as you said, we on our end, we would always do our best to support everyone, every young person that is truly intentional about building the journey, about building themselves, about building their generational wealth. And I think I'll just round up by saying thank you so much on behalf of everyone that's joined this section, on behalf of those that'll be joining in the nearest future to watch the replays and all. Thank you so much, and we look forward to having you again on our next sections and future sections. Thank you so much,
All right,
sir.
thank you so much. I appreciate it.
So, just to round up, we are supposed to have like the third speaker will be joining us today. So that means tomorrow we'll be having tomorrow we go choke. We would have almost five speakers coming on board. So irrespective of what you feel you might have learned today or learned yesterday, tomorrow is going to be a redefining moment for every single person. That's one thing I can assure. We have someone coming to speak on business, we have someone coming to speak on marketing, we have someone, and we have over three industry leading, should I say, recent graduate. They're actually recent graduate, but then they have been able to hack their way to become industry leaders in such a short period of time, even while they were still students. And we'll be hosting the three of them plus the other two speakers tomorrow, making it almost five speakers. So whatever you do, don't miss tomorrow's section for anything. And I know a lot of people have spoken about, like most of the speakers have spoken about skill set, upskilling, building yourself, being hungry for knowledge, and all of that. Now, Nsky as a platform is a community-based platform. Like it's a software that would help you actually gain these skill sets for as little as nothing. You can start learning for free, learn any kind of skill set, marketing, sales, and anything at all from tech, marketing, entertainment, creativity, any kind of skill in demand skill set in any field. So with Nsky's software, with Nsky's web application, you'll be able to, you won't be asking yourself of where can you learn this anymore, because at that point it will be fully available for you. And by God's grace, we'll be launching the first version of the platform by tomorrow after our final section. So I hope to see you there, because there'll be a gift for a lot of people that will be joining. Okay, someone just asked, how do we detect a real business from a false one to invest in? Okay, our speaker is Mr. Caleb is already gone. Mr. Caleb is already gone, but then I would relay this message to him on the group chat, and then he would send a reply. So just send a message to the community, send this question to the community, and then we would make sure you get a feedback. But then this is how I believe this message was redirected to Mr. Caleb. But then from my own end, now, how do you detect a real business from a false one to invest in? Now, the truth is that when it comes to the business world, let's be honest, scammers are getting smarter every day. So if you feel like if you can easily detect, unlike before, like you can easily detect this, most of these scammers, they're already thinking 3 steps ahead, 4 steps ahead. They're already thinking, okay, what would this person do to detect that, okay, this business is not it to actually invest in? So, like as the days progress, it's becoming almost harder to be able to detect a real business from a false one. But then one thing that I can always tell, especially when it depends on the area that you're talking about. Are you talking about real estate? Are you talking about like it totally depends on the type of business. But one thing you should always make sure you take guard of, one thing you should always be sure of is that like a real business, there's no real business that doesn't have a process behind it. There's no real business that doesn't have a process behind it. So when you're looking at for a business to invest in, like, and you're seeing something like, okay, you make 100% of your money in 2 days, in 3 days, find out how. Depending on the in business also, who are the people behind this business? What exactly are they doing? Where exactly are they located? Who else has invested in this business before now that I can maybe try to learn from, that I can ask some questions to be sure that this stuff is actually real? The truth is that for every successful business, for every real business that anybody should be willing to invest in, at least there should be some level of track record on that field. And sometimes, especially when you're starting something totally new, I think that's where risk step comes in. And at the beginning, there's especially when you don't know so much about the business, we would always advise never make an investment that you can't lose. Never risk more than you can lose at a single setting. And then as you tend to see more about the business, as you tend to start getting the results from the business, then you can get to invest a lot more into it. So, Chuku, I don't know if that answers your question to an extent, although Mr. Caleb will still answer it on the group chat, but I don't know if that answers your question to some extent. Okay, so as I said, we have come to the end of tonight's section. So, beyond the four walls is not just something, it's not just a conference, it's going to be a movement sponsored by NSky. So we hope to work with you, we hope to see you be part of this movement. The goal is to build the next generation of business leaders, the next generation of industry leaders, the next generation of career leaders. And these leaders begin with you. These giants of the industry begin with how intentional you are about your growth. And we promise we are going to be there. We are going to do our best to guide you along the journey, to give you the support that you need to actually reach your fullest potential. So thank you very much, everyone. And I think this way we'll be taking a stop for today. In the absence of no more questions, thank you so much and have a beautiful night's rest. Remember, NSky cares about you, and we are always going to be there to support you in every way we can. Thank you and good night.